everybody. It's let's see. I think I'm about 1 minute early. Yeah. So I beat all of you by a minute. So I'm gonna give you an opportunity to come on in. It's the American dream. Well, ain't it? So I'm gonna give you an opportunity. Peace, Sister Kashia. Always steadfast. Always a scholar. Just getting my insurance. Peace, Baba Logan. Yeah, man. Peace, peace, peace. Yeah. Yeah, well, everyone is doing great today, man. We're now in that space of the changing of seasons, you know, and a lot of times that brings a lot of things. One of which is the phone charge. It sure is. Peace, Baba Obadina. Yeah, exactly. We're gonna seize the day. Carpe diem. You know. Yeah. Phone is charged. Got Lucille with me in case anybody wants to. Peace, Sister Manera. In case anybody wants to play some baseball. Precious Mom, Kiki J. So I guess wow. So y'all are here. 6:30 is the time. I guess maybe that's the well, I mean that's the time it's supposed to be because I wanted to really flow with that nine vibration and that equality understanding, six being equality, three being understanding, all being born to born, really. So that's one of the reasons why I kept it there. Peace, Nikki Love and Trace C. Yeah. Um, yeah, man. Give thanks, give thanks. But I won't be too long. I try not to. I don't really want to take up too much of your dawning. Peace, strong mind, strong body, fitness, all the way. I'm always almost did it again. Almost quick to shout out people's locations. Let's just say strong mind, strong. We're gonna say it twice for strong mind, strong body, fitness. She's a trainer. That's what she does. Like me, I guess. Just in a different way. Um, yeah, I try not to take up too much time because, you should have your own dawning ritual, and learning things is a part of it. That's a great part of it, taking in that information. But of course, giving yourself a moment to have meetings with yourself is very important. And if you, even if you don't do it every day, you should at least periodically throughout the strong, even if it's just once or twice, have personal meetings, and just kind of really check in with your divinity, and find out like, hey, where am I at, basically, little progress report, peace, peace, brother Alex Legant, the glove, you know, um, I wonder when they came up with that name, Gaunt. Like you said, allegedly glove. You're right. It could be something else. But I wonder what kind of glove they were referring to and the metaphorical meaning. Yeah, I have to look into that. But anyway, yeah, man. So peace, mother's way or our mother's way. Let me say the whole thing like a tribe called Quest. Um, yeah, it's good to have those meetings with yourself. To really kind of just check in with, like I said, with your divinity, see where you're at with things. Peace, Sherelle, caught it live. Look at that. You must be up extra early, you know. And of course, it's early here. I mean, I've been out getting some movement in the moonlight. I mean, the moon is. Let me see. I can't see it. It's a little bit of cloud overcast, but the stars are really beautiful. Peace, Sister Maksha. You know, um, no moon, but lots of nice stars. You know, but yeah, I like to get my movement in when it's still dark. Chief, I've been rocking with. No, you have. You've been coming in late. A couple ones you was like, yeah, I had to I had to get it on the replay. You wasn't getting the live ones. I mean, you might have got a couple in here, there, but I remember comments. A couple of comments, you was like, oh, I missed it. But no, you still right. You still here. I'm appreciative because it's early and everyone's not a dawning person. Like I said, I'm not a dawning person in the least bit. In fact, I'm not even a day person. To keep it 1,000 with you all, I'm not even a day person. I don't really start to enjoy the day until about 10 p.m. Everything between that, I'm pretty cranky. you know. So I mean, I say I'm not a dawning person, but truthfully, as long as the sun is out, I'm like, you know, I like when things get dark and stealthy and shadowy. That's when I feel, you know, more at home. But you got to play it off. When you got to function a little bit with the outside world. James Karapaki, peace, 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 peace. Iya Aldo Ray, Iya Aldo Ray, smoke the cigarettes. But yeah, man, So, but like I was just saying, it's good to you see that sun is coming up. The sky, the colors are changing. It's a real pretty sky today, man. It's a nice color of blue. Um, Love early a.m. and quiet. Yeah, so do I. I'm mother's way. I like the early a.m. But then once the sun hits, I don't know. I wanna kind of go into my tomb, if you will. The early a.m. before the sun and it's nice and quiet, and the birds are getting ready to do their thing, and that's always a nice time, you know, um, and people are still sleeping and not, you know, being a nuisance. Peace, Baba Cruz. Baba Cruz, yeah. Give thanks, give thanks. Peace, 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 peace. But yeah, like I was just saying, I'm giving the salutations too because one of the important things about this experience, these commanding the days, is like acknowledging each other, man, because that's really what a lot of this is about in terms of just greeting good people, you know, um, before you greet the people who may not be as beneficial or may not be as concerned about your rise and your path. You know, so it's a two-way thing, man. I want to be able to greet you and say good dawning, and maybe even before you start sloshing around coughing in your mouth or whatever it is you do, but like I said, yeah, it's important to have those meetings with yourself. I have them regularly. I have meetings with other people. I have meetings with my assistants. I have family meetings, and then I have Yuya meetings. Where I'm just meeting with myself and trying to see where the refinement needs to be. Am I on point? Am I off point? Where am I at with maybe some of my goals and some of the things that I've been trying to execute? So it's just important. I'm not telling you to do what I do. I mean, but just sharing a little bit. But on some level, it's good to meet with yourself on some level, man. So that's why I try not to really make these too long because I know that you all probably have your own dawning ritual. At least you should. Um, and whether that be some stretching, whether that be sitting at your shrine and meditating, whether that be some reading, you've been more tolerant since we've started commanding the day. That's good. Yeah, yeah, that's what's supposed to happen. That's exactly what's supposed to happen, you know. And eventually, maybe that tolerance will move towards acceptance. But that's a start. That's a beginning. That's what's supposed to happen. You know. Yeah, you're right, Kashia. They should make sure to like the video. You're absolutely right. You know. You know how they do us. You know. But yeah, man. So one of the things that I was going to get on yesterday, yesterday we cut a little short because people were bringing in the solstice with a bang, 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 bang boogie. So that on top of that, and then my battery was running out, and it just wasn't, it just wasn't. We said what we needed to say. We did what we needed to do. So it's a bit shorter, which I think actually that's around the time I'd like to make them anyway, about 15 minutes. You know, but because like I said, I want you to be able to. I don't want to be your dawning ritual. I want you to, even if it's just you reading, or you're listening to an audiobook, or maybe you make tea, and you make tea and you just take your time making tea properly. You just not just burning up the leaves, turning the flame on the highest setting. Peace, Bob Antonio. you know, that's a form of a ritual too. That slow down. When you have to make tea. I don't really make tea much because of that fact. When I was younger, I used to make it a lot, but as I've gotten older, I've wanted to slow down less and less. So tea requires that, when you're making it properly, you know, um, and that's a part of a challenge that I'm working on right now, like, and sometimes you could do things like that. Okay, let me just make some tea, take my time, and I have nice tea sets, like real tea sets, and that's always been the challenge, sitting down to actually make them and pull my herbs out and everything. I'm quicker to just do something else, right? But that's a ritual. That's a great ritual, especially a great service ritual. To kind of bring yourself in a place where you're ministering to yourself. But like I said, man, one of the things I wanted to speak about, or I felt needed to be spoken about yesterday, but maybe I wanted to speak about it, and that's why it didn't happen. Peace, brother Vermont. Peace, 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 peace. You know, maybe it didn't happen because I wanted to speak about it, and it wasn't what needed to be spoken about. But yeah. Anyway, so like I mentioned yesterday, before it got all boys in the hood. Peace, Baba Haru. That the heart was something I wanted to kind of build on coming into the solstice, and I think it's better that it happened on the solstice while I'm speaking about on the solstice because it was more related to it anyway. You know what I mean? Um, and someone noticed before. They said, I noticed when you do videos, you look around a lot. That's just from hometown training. You know what I mean? It's not because I'm you know paranoid or anything like that. Or maybe I am paranoid. I think in some things I am paranoid. Yeah, but I'm just used to kind of I I'm like you know always scanning like radar. And it's not always I'm scanning for danger. I just like to know what's going on around me. You know, like to know the animals that are around me and the people that are around me. Sometimes you need to help somebody. You might scan and see somebody who needs some help or trying to carry something they're having difficulty with, whatever. So, but also I don't like fools sneaking up on me. So that's the other part with that too. So I mean, it's like a machete. It serves dual purposes. You know. But yeah, like I was saying, we coming into that changing of seasons. Um, yeah, and wanted to build on that for a minute and what that really represents and means. You know, I've done segments before on the equinox. I think I might have said solstice earlier, but you know what I mean. Um, but I've done segments before on the equinox for prior years, so I'm not going to get into a breakdown of what that means and all that because you could check those out and get that information. But I know on this day I always have to listen to Coltrane. I always got to listen to Coltrane. You know, um, to kind of get things right. That song Equinox. Good dawning, divine woo. Woo. Would you woo woo woo? Remember that joint? Jeffrey Osborne. Um, but yeah. So like I was talking about the heart, right? And really just building on that. One of the things that we can strive for is perfection, right? And I know it seems like it's impossible to be perfect. I've heard people say that before when they've done things that um, maybe they knew they shouldn't have done, and somebody brought it to their attention, and they use these very weak excuses like, nobody's perfect, or I'm only human. What do you expect from me? You know, um, or like the song "I'm Only Human." Who was, I think Simple Minds sung that, "I'm Only Human." But the point I'm making is that perfection is possible in this lifetime. And you can learn something about that by just reading the 42 Declarations of Ma'at. You know, um, the thing that can be perfect in this lifetime is your heart. You know, the things that you do that may not be that may not be perfect, right? You know, so you sticky man. What is it? Some persistent a feather. Yeah. But the things you do, and there's another one. All right, we just gonna leave this. So I'm just gonna have to look like I slept under the bed with my jacket on. But the things that we do in this lifetime, you know, a lot of times they'll be maligned, and we'll have misfires and missteps and failures, and that's fine. That's what life is. It's a lot of trial and error. It's a lot of kind of hitting your head up against different walls and trying to see what will work and what won't work. But the perfection of the heart is actually achievable, and the way you achieve the perfecting of the heart is by having a divine heart, right? So what does it mean to have a perfect heart? It doesn't necessarily mean that my cardio's on point, or just like there's no clogged arteries or anything like that. That's kind of a part of it, but it means that I have a willing heart, and keep in mind I'm using the word willing on purpose. I have a willing heart to do right. That's the epitome of a perfect heart. Peace, Juanisha. Peace, information. You know, um, Having a willing heart. Yeah. Okay, I got everybody. I think I got everybody. Um, a lot of times we have a heart that's based around what we want to do. It's based around our own will, and in that we end up having a corrupted heart. And it's like you got one thing throughout this lifestyle. I mean, throughout this lifetime, that you can actually say, "I'm perfect at," and like why mess it up with ego? Because I want to do this or I want to do that or I want to do that, and then you miss out on your chance for perfection, right? Because like I said, it's not really in what you do that makes you perfect, and that's an outward showing a lot of times that we get caught up in because we love the adulation. you know um, I've been playing on stages and even speaking, on stages, but more so from a musical perspective since I was very young. And there's nothing like applause. There's nothing like being in front of a lot of people and they're clapping and they're cheering, and that applause is some kind of drug. I tell you, you know. And for me, I think the Creator gave me something. It gave me a gift in that I never liked to be out front. So even in the instruments that I played, or even when I came into this type of experience, I always wanted to be the background person. So like playing drums, playing the bass. Like yeah, I don't want to be the guitar player. I don't want to be up front. I want to be the bass player. Put me in the back. Peace, Ia Arlene. Because I like holding down. I like kind of like Atlas. I like holding down the bottom. You know what I mean? Like making sure that giving everybody a nice bed to function on top of, whether it be the percussionist or the singer. You leave a nice bed for them to do their thing on. And it's the same thing with this experience. I spent probably about 20 years before I started making myself known, because I like to be in the background and kind of setting up the events and the speaking experiences and stuff. So that was a gift that the Creator gave me because it allowed me to develop my ego in a healthy way, early, right? So that helps you to build a perfected heart when you're willing to say, you know what, it's not about what I want to do so much. It's about what needs to be done and what the Creator is requiring in this moment. The way we build that heart up is we seek the intention and the will of the Almighty. That's how we build the perfected heart. That's the only way to do it. And then what happens is that that heart or that universal or that cosmic heart starts to become your heart. You see, and that your will starts to become, because remember the heart is the seat of your will, the okan. The okan, or that call the oneness. Well, what am I becoming one with? And the reason I say call the oneness, matter of fact, just listen to the segment I did with Alim Bey, the Okan, the heart intelligence, and that will explain to you what I just said. I don't want to like do a bunch of teaching, but because it's right there, and I think we did it in like, it might be two parts. I know it's at least like 2 hours worth of teaching, 2 or 3 hours, something like that. It was a pretty good segment actually. We had fun on that one. And that was a while ago, but it's up. You'll find it. You look for it. But yeah, man. A lot of times we're looking to perfect the wrong things, or we want these shows of piety and righteousness. Like um, sometimes you see even on social media these video clips of people giving food and money to the homeless. I'm gonna go to a Burger King and I'm gonna give $10,000, but there's a camera there. Right? And I'm not saying that's wrong. Do it however you want to offer your money. Offer your money. Like I'm not. I didn't make it. That's your bread. But it's just something to think about. When we're really supposed to do things in silence or in quietness or in darkness. Peace, Fase. And then we're through divine text, we're supposed to receive our praise from the Creator. But a lot of times we're looking for praise from people, you know, and there's a very difficult thing there, because what happens is that the more you allow your heart to be perfected by studying the will and the intention of the Creator, and you start to take on the Creator's mind, the more you do that, the more people are not gonna like you. The more people are not really gonna mess with you like that. They're not gonna rock with you. So it's like a catch 22 almost. You know, um, they're gonna start looking at you like you're crazy, or why can't you do it this way? They're gonna want you to please them, and that's gonna come out more and more. Can't you just do this? Can't you just do that? Can't you just compromise? You got to learn to compromise. Peace, Alicia. Um, and that's a sense of that. That taking on that creator's heart, or that divine heart, or that divine will, means that now I'm no longer pleasing people. I spoke about that a while ago, in terms of, yeah, it's the normalization. Exactly. um, in terms of the seasons of our lives. And typically the first half of your life you live for the world, the second half you live for divinity. you know um, and that first half, your heart is not your own. you know you have an impure heart, and we may say, but wait, I did this, and I did acts of philanthropy, and I was charitable, and I helped people, and I always gave a kind word and everything like that. But did you do that because you wanted that adulation, or did you do that because that's what the will of the Creator told you needed to do, right? So, in that, a lot of times we're stuck. you know we're stuck, man. We're stuck with a dirty heart, and not realizing, man, that we've just gotten used to getting praise from the wrong people, or from the wrong place, from the wrong source. A lot of times that happens in marriage, or just relationships, period, man. You see a lot of this with women a lot of times. People make jokes about it, like, oh, women expect you to be a mind reader, and this and that. Men do too sometimes. Sometimes men have a little difficulty living with their feelings, or living with their actual desires, and being honest about that. Like, I need a hug. Just saying it. Sometimes men struggle with that. But The thing about it is that uh, what happens is sometimes you're going through something or you're feeling something, and you expect your mate to be a mind reader, to understand what you're going through, and to encourage you in that moment. Though they may not be that, and they're in tune with you, but they're not that in tune, right? And on top of that, they're not related to you. Sometimes people get that part a little twisted. Like, yeah, I may be your man, but I'm not your, I'm not related to you. I'm not, so um, by blood. So there's certain things I'm not going to be in tune with. Number one, and then usually when I end up having to say it, I have to say, and there's certain things you can't get away with me. Because I didn't see you as a baby. You weren't a cute little girl, and I just go ahead, you do it. Nah, man, I ain't. Anyway, I'm about to have a flashback. Let me keep going, and then I get distracted. But so what I'm saying in that sense is that we're seeking for encouragement and support from people when we should be seeking encouragement and support from the divine creator. So sometimes we'll even end a relationship. Oh, you didn't support me. Oh, when I was down, how could you not know I was going through this? How could you not know what I was feeling? Didn't you didn't notice something was different? And I'm on my own path. I'm on my own journey. I'm noticing as much as I can, but I didn't design you. I didn't create you. You know, um, why didn't you go to the creator for that? Why were you looking for that in me? You see, and that's a form of justice. Who you let reward you and who you let punish you, you let define you. So the same thing in relationships. Sometimes we're looking for definition and support when we should be looking for that definition. Who better to define you than the one who created you? You see, so we get real screwed up in that, and sometimes we think we don't have something in relationships that we really do have. It's the Wizard of Oz thing. I got to travel all over, get sucked up in a tornado. You're more than welcome, Sister Kashia. Sucked up in a tornado, getting chased by witches and flying monkeys and everything, to realize that everything I had was all that I needed. Peace Shade and Peace Mimi. I already had everything I needed in that sense. And again, that's a product, or that's evidence of a corrupted heart. Your heart has been corrupted. And I know it's kind of a different kind of theorem, but when we're coming into this time of the equinox, this is our time for perfection, right? I know my words are sound a little funny. There's a slight chill in the air, so my my gears ain't talking about the odds, man. I need some oil, like Nipsey Russell. Slide me some oil. But so what happens? We're looking for the outer man to. Would you say our role is man? I ain't answering no goddamn questions, Bob Obadina. Follow along with what I'm giving. Uh, So y'all can ask each other questions, and y'all can answer questions among each other. We do that. I want you to get this, right? If you get this and you apply this, then you'll be the one answering the question. Somebody be asking you, Bob Obadine, I know you notice you've been moving different, man. Your whole will has been different, man. You've been moving with a different kind of speed and the things you do. You've been moving with a different kind of surety. Where's that coming from? And then you'll say, peace, peace, Baba Christian. You'll say, yeah, man, because I changed my will, man. I stopped, trying to do what I wanted to do and started doing what the Creator wanted me to do. So you won't even have to ask that question. So just come on. Go for the ride, man. Fire up the hog. Let's ride. Um, so we can work on perfecting that inner person, or that inner man, or that inner woman, through the perfecting of the heart, through taking on those characteristics. And like I said, you've got some of the evidence of having a corrupted heart. Some of the evidence of having a perfected heart. It's not that difficult. One of the things is sometimes the annoyance that you are to your mate and to your friends. It's the constant change. You might be Baba Obadina version 29. and then in a year it's like version 40, and it's like, damn it. Excuse me, I didn't mean to use profanity, but you might say, man, your people like, who am I talking to now? Or even in a relationship, like you just keep, I don't know who I'm gonna be married to next year, man. It just, you know, that's because I'm evolving, and I'm changing, and as the Almighty Creator is expanding because of the needs of its children, then that consciousness has to expand to accommodate the new exploration and the new findings and the new understandings. So if I have that heart inside of me, then of course now I'm also expanding. I'm expanding with the universe. So yeah, there's gonna be a whole lot of versions of me that that are gonna pop off and be relevant, right? So when there's that lack of change, when there's that stubbornness, when there's that desire to receive all the praise and adulation and do things to be seen, um, there's a corruption. There's a corruption. But when we're taking on the characteristics of that perfection of the heart, one of the very first things that we want to do is what the Creator wants us to do, or what the Creator wants is what we want. Period. And that may not look like what people have taught you, because typically what people have taught you is garbage. I mean, we learn a lot of dogma, when it comes to, people use what they call to be the will of the Creator for purposes of manipulation. I spoke about to the Anu group on one of our calls. We were talking about something. I think it was with philosophy, and I had spoken to him about checking out Plato. Plato was a real deep. He was a real deep writer. Like, he was a deep thinker. Plato is worth reading, man. And I know a lot of us, we so super conscious that if it ain't got a black face on it, we ain't touching it. But sometimes all that is just a black face. you know. But if you read Plato's Euthyphro and Socrates, real good conversation, especially for um, peace, Omega. Um, you're most humbled by praise, huh? Spirit driven. Okay, buddy. But no, I'm playing with you. But yeah, so sort of. If you read Socrates and Euthyphro, it's an interesting conversation that they have, and there's a couple of things that come up. And Euthyphro is standing outside of the court in Athens because um, he's persecuting his father for murder. Right? It's a long story. No, I don't. I'm not gonna. And I'm not here to share the Greek classics. What I mean? We know they were thieves. Like, we know that part already. But sometimes you're gonna learn from a thief. That's just how it is, man. Because those thieves, they thinking they're stealing something, but all they're doing is holding it for you. You hold that for a minute. Hold that while I go through the Ma'afa. I'll be back for it. You know what I mean? So you don't always have to look at it like you know it's stolen. It's gone, man. These people were these people were backwoods farmers. You know what I mean? They were not the great, astronomers and philosophers and theologians that history would tell you. They were just, backwoods farmers, man. Having orgies and foursomes with sheep and cattle. The second set of Greeks, the first set of Greeks, had afros and waves and big gold medallions, and you know what I mean. And there was chocolate drops, chocolate drops and honey drip cuties, if you get what I'm saying. So Marcus Aurelius, yeah, Marcus Aurelius. You gotta learn the history of Marcus Aurelius. He looked a lot different than you might think, like so many people did, But yeah, so he's having this conversation with Euthyphro, and I didn't say urethra. So when you doing the Google search, don't put in Socrates and urethra. I didn't say that. Euthyphro. And one of the questions that comes up, they're having a conversation about piety, because this was around the time that Socrates was being brought to the courts because he was said to have been corrupting the Athenian youth, right? And I mean, just the whole piece with Plato putting in that Euthyphro was persecuting his father from murder, like that was genius. The way like he wove that in, like it was deep. It was a real deep story. Um, but one of the things, like they get to is like, Socrates asked Plato, like, do we do the will of the gods because it's good, or and I'm paraphrasing, I'm messing it up a little bit, or does he say the gods do certain things because it's good? You see what I'm saying? So is something done because the gods see that it's good, or do the gods do it because it's good? Right? Very deep question. Very, very, very deep question. You know, within the context of that story, I would urge you all to check it out, man. Especially for like people who are polytheists. You know, and I'm a polytheist. People who recognize that there are multiple God influences. It's a really good question because one of the things he also talks about, because Euthyphro was like, well, this is the will of the gods and this and that, and I had to bring my father to the courts for murder because that's what the gods would have wanted me to do. Whoop, whoop, whoop. And Socrates is like, yeah, but how do you know the will of the gods? How do you know that? And then he was like, don't some of the gods argue with each other? So if our own peace, Hassan, so if our own gods argue with each other, then that means their wills are conflicting. You know what I'm saying? So how would you be? Which one are you picking to say it's this one's will or it's that one's will, right? It's a really interesting perspective to like just ponder and look at when you're circling around trying to understand. Well, when I say I have the heart of the divine, which one? So when you hear me say that, like take on the heart of the creator, which one am I talking about? Right? Um, so that's why you'll hear me say the most high, or most high, high above all of them. Yeah, there's a bunch of them, but I'm dealing with the top one. Or you'll read in the Anu way where I speak about that we are servants of the Most High Yah. And you might say, well, how could he say he's serving the Most High Yah? And yesterday he was talking about Ogun and Oshun. What the heck? you know, read Plato, Socrates, and Euthyphro. I think it may help you to maybe understand some of that. But like I said, in this time of the equinox, we can really work on supporting the inner perfection, by coming to that place where we are recognizing the highest will. Of course, Sister Maksha, she's a teacher, so of course she's gonna spell it for y'all. I wanted to see what y'all was gonna come up. Yeah, I looked up, Socrates and Aretha, but I didn't see nothing, man, about Aretha. She wasn't even in it. I don't know, man. That's how they do to the sister, man. They wrote the sister out the story. You know, so I wanted to see what y'all was gonna come up with. But it's all right. It's good. So you got the spelling right there in the chat. But yeah. So we gotta evolve, and I realize I'm as I'm getting older, man, I might be developing a nervous tick, grow. And I noticed that, you know, grow. That sometimes when I'm speaking to you, this tick just comes out, grow. So how do we kind of know that we are functioning on the perfected heart, and we are perfecting that in the person, grow. You know what I mean? You get what I'm saying? Grow. So that stubbornness, when we stay stuck and we have the encrusted chamber around the heart, a heart that's encrusted in it's not pumping anymore. It's not pushing things throughout the body anymore. It's not pushing life and energy and light throughout that system. It's not taking that new water. This pops doing this thing. Grow. It's not taking that new water and making new blood with it, man. Because grow. Because we've decided to encrust ourselves in our ideas of righteousness and piety, but we haven't encrusted ourselves or enslaved ourselves to the Creator's concepts of righteousness and piety. It's a deep thing, I'm telling you. It's really deep, especially for those of you who consider yourself to be occultists, witches, warlocks, spiritualists. It's a really deep thing. That's why so many of you still struggle in a serious way where you don't have to struggle. And the reason is because you're enslaved to your own will. Peace, Kenneth Williams. You're enslaved to your own will. That's why, like, a lot of times I'll do these segments and it still will fall down to the simplest, stupidest type of, and I'm not saying that about anybody who's asked a question in this, so I'm not saying it about you, Bob, over there, or anybody's asked a question in this segment, but a lot of times, and y'all have witnessed, because people have talked about it, man, you'll be teaching all of this, and it'll just ask the dumbest question because they're fixated on their own, the agenda of their own will. They ain't listening to what I'm talking about. They don't, they don't care. Yeah, as soon as Chief Harry, I'm gonna hurry up and ask him this question. As soon as he takes a breath, and nobody's interested in your stupid questions because that's just not the time that we're in right now. We're in a very critical time, and it's so critical that now we gotta really move like I'm gonna use the word God. We gotta move like God. That little bit of wisdom that you think you got, that you ain't saying nothing. You ain't saying nothing, or you are trying to capitalize off the wisdom and the divinity of a broken people. Some of you are praying to sky gods. Some of you are praying to sand gods. Some of you are praying to poverty gods. Look at the regions where you say your gods derive from, and where you find the profundity of the people who are practicing those systems. Look around. When you go to your teacher's house, are you walking over squalor and, dogs sucking on themselves and people begging you for money and stuff like that? Use a little grow. Use a little common sense. Are you praying to a sand god and you don't live in the desert? Grow. And you don't even live in the desert? Do you have to start studying 500 deities because they're all so weak? You need 500 of them just to make one good one? Grow. And on a note, side note, that's why some of y'all be wanting to practice polygyny. Grow. So I got this nervous tick. Grow. I'm a very good driver. Kmart sucks. That's why a lot of you be wanting to practice polygyny, man. Because your woman sucks. Not, no pun intended. She sucks. You collecting all this garbage, and you try to put it together like a freaking what was the Destructicon, like a Destructicon. You got all these old broken dump trucks and trying to put together one good woman. Because when a woman comes with standards, you don't want her. So you get a bunch of women with no standards and try to see if you can get one to grow. See if you can get one standard. So yeah, I need multiple queens. I need at least 4 to 5 queens. I need 4 to 5. Those ain't queens, man. That's stray cats. That's just some stray animals you picked up, trying to get you one good loyal pet out of all of them. That's a side note though. That's not what we're talking about. So don't get too distracted by that. But that's what I've noticed over the years. And you might say, but you got more than one woman. Hell yeah. They all good. They all good. They could all go. I could just be left with one and I'm still good. They each relationship is good. They're all solid, respectable, earnest, kind people. Peace, Amazi. Peace, 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 peace. Good dawning to you. At one point I did have some garbage in the cipher, but it's a filtering process. But after a while you learn that's where sometimes, you're not feeling your regality and your royalty in the eyes of your creator. So you try to see it. You said one good woman is better than 3 raggedy ones. No doubt. No doubt. And that's in any game you're working with. Any game you're working with. Sometimes we want to build these huge stables. Just it's ego. A lot of times, it's ego. You know, but ain't nothing like building, man. When you really understand what wealth is and the ability to truly build and to establish a family brand, ain't nothing like it, man. You know, so like I said, sometimes we accumulate gods the same way. You know, we're hard headed and unwilling to listen to our higher divinity, so then we go and get a bunch of lower level raggedy divinities. You see, good day, Gypsy Gray. And I know it's hard to imagine that because we imagine that if something has been made, if something has been deified, it must be good, especially if it's old. But that's so very silly. It's so very silly. Anybody could make a god. We got 61 people in here, 31 likes. Well, you know, we got 61 people in here. The 60, I guess I make 62. 62 of us, we could get together right now and we could make a deity. We could come up with a name and we could start praying to it and chanting to it. And we could just do that every time we meet. Now we have a deity. So now, 1,000 years from now, when someone sees this video, oh, that was an ancient deity. Ancient archetype of what? Of the dawning. Whenever you want to command this day, you call upon this deity. You see how stupid it gets? It gets so stupid. And then you do that long enough and you wonder why you keep getting sick and having strokes and all kind of health issues. Because you're inviting all of that different breath into, remember, spirit is breath. Every time you invite a new spirit into your home, you're inviting new breath into your home. How many breaths can you take coming in from all over? You know, hot air, cold air, moist air, you know, dry air, salty air, sandy air, dusty air. You take bringing in all these different deities. Why don't you just get a good one? And again, now you might say, but didn't you say you was a polytheist earlier? I sure did. I am a polytheist. Yeah, I'm a polytheist. I don't serve all of them. I don't serve all of them. I recognize them. You gotta recognize what's controlling people. You know, the FDA is a deity to some people. You know, you got it's good to understand, especially if you're working with the people, what's killing the people and what's healing the people. You know, but like I said, characteristics grow of a strong and a perfected heart is that evolution. You know, is that evolution, and that's something that you can strive for during this solstice. Grow. My voice sounds lower. I don't know. That's why I'm always leaning in like this, so you can hear me more clearly. I'm not sure. Um, Maybe at some point I'll start wearing. I have a little mic. Grow. Um, I'll start using the mic like I used to back in the old videos. It's just usually when I first start, it's dark out, so it's like I'm fumbling for things still. So you know, and the mic has got like a little clip, and I'd have to have lights on and all that, you know, to see what I'm doing. I ain't trying to make this into no, you know, I'm trying to do a big production, bro. So yeah, no, I got the stand. I got it on order. Whoop de whoop. Couple other things too, because you know sometimes that's what happens, man. You get on the site. I'm not going to say the site's name. I'm not going to give him any. He ain't give me no bread. You know, you start looking at. You know, I also need some of this, and you know, I need a little bit of that, and you know, so yeah, I had to lump my order. You know, I needed some things because I broke some guitar strings. I had to buy some new guitar strings too. So that's another thing. So yeah, I need my guitar strings. You know what I mean? So I had to do some other stuff too. But yeah, it's coming. It's coming. Yeah, that's how they get you. That's how that other spot get you too. W Foods, you know which one I'm talking about with the green sign. Man, you go in there. Yeah, I'm just gonna get me a little soap. I'm gonna get me some Dr. B soap. And you come out. How much is it? $110. All I got was some kale and soap. You know. That's why I don't you know, I try to stay out of W Foods. You know. Um, but yeah, that's all I wanted to really share, man. Let's work on perfecting our heart. Let's really work on that, man, and developing the characteristics of a perfected heart. Because that's where we find perfection in this lifetime. That's how we can become perfect people. That's the only way. It's through the heart. Your body is it's decomposing. You know what I'm saying? As I'm speaking, is decomposing. Yours is grow. Mine is decomposing. But the heart, when you're connecting with that divine will, when you're connecting with that divine will, and you now are at least you have the will to want to do the divine will. That's heart perfection. And understand the word perfect means to be complete. It doesn't mean I did everything right, but when you have a mental cipher of wanting to do everything the correct way and it's connecting here, then now perfection has already begun. I'm hearing voices. I'm sorry, not inside of him. I'm hearing voices, but perfection has already begun, right? So that's where you strive for perfection. And remember, where the heart and mind goes, the body follows. You know, that's why again there's so much sickness, man, because your heart is torn by the will of all of these different deities that you've submitted yourself to. Instead of just learning about, you decided to submit yourself to them. But that's always the problem. Us Ethiopians, we always do the same thing every single time, every incarnation, every time. We study nature, and then we get so excited we start worshiping nature every freaking time. I don't know. We get tripped up easy. You know, we pray for a spouse, then we enjoy the spouse so much that we get you know p whipped, whichever p. They both 5 letters. You know, we get p whipped, and then now we worshiping that instead of saying, "Man, I'm so appreciative that I have this, that this was given to me. This person, you know, was brought into my cipher. I was brought into this person's cipher." We do the same thing every freaking time. Us crazy Moors, we fall for the okey doke. So we gotta find perfection in divine will. That's the only place we're gonna find it. And then what's that grow? What that's gonna do is that's gonna start a growth process towards evolution. That's the only thing that you're gonna hold on to by the time you get out of here. That's the heart that's light as a feather, because it has the light, the light agenda inside of it, not the heavy dark human agenda. Remember, this is a fall into darkness from light. Don't forget that part. We fell from light into darkness. So when it's time to measure the heart, we want the heart to be measured with that original light. That's why we will say the 42 negative confessions. I ain't did this, I ain't did that, I ain't did that, I ain't did that. The human avatar, now, woo, I can tell you some stories. The human avatar did some things, you know, but I am just as I came in, still perfect and unblemished, because I am connected and remember my original will for creation, my original will for being is still present. If I came and I willed myself into being like Ra did, if I willed myself into being because I came here to learn about the sacred life of plants or bumblebees or whatever it is, then that sacred will is still what's active and alive inside of me. So I am perfect in my will. I still am tethered to that perfected will. Period. Period. All right. So yeah, man, this equinox, that's what we're gonna work on. We're gonna be fasting as a collective, our new people, and you're welcome to join us. We're gonna start on first seventh day, which is Sabbat, or Sheva in Yom Sheva in the Hebrew, or Sabah, in the Arabic or the Amharic or the Tigrinian. Really, it's all Sabah, Shabbat, Sabbat, Sabado. That's Sabah, Sabah, Shabbat, or Sabah is always going to be some type of variation for that. Then they just give you Saturday. What? All around the world, everybody knows it's Shabbat, Shabbat, Sabah. and then y'all just go left, and you gonna worship Saturn on this day. That's what you gonna do. You gonna worship Saturn, and on Sundays you gonna worship Apollo. That's what you gonna do. We'll get it together. Just you gotta be patient. We'll get it together. We've come a long way. You know how your heart is perfected? Where were you 2015? Where were you 5 years ago? Did you grow? Grow. Did you grow since 2015? If you have, then you're on it. You're on it. You're on it. You know. I wanted to just share that, so we'll be fasting, and I'll give you some more information. I'll be back in the dawning tomorrow, so I'll give you some more information on that. And I also wanted to throw another thing in there real quick. Grow. People have been asking about my ministry, I New Life Global Ministries, and when you hear me say I knew people and things like that. Grow. What it is, I think you're getting it. Get Gypsy Gray. You're getting it. Grow. So I got a little nervous tick. You know what I mean? Um, grow. So the way it works in March, in the springtime, is when we bring in new applicants. Okay, so some of you applied before, were accepted, and then you never followed through. So you're not in it, right? So we got like 2 or 3 emails. I guess people hear me saying I knew, and they're like, yeah, I'm in I knew. You're not in I knew because you missed the whole orientation. You missed everything. It's not just a phone call, all right? So I'll say this: don't be afraid to ask questions. Like some of you applied and maybe you did the first orientation call, and then we told you there's going to be like a 3.5 month series. That's just orientation. You don't even get your acceptance level. We don't know if you can hang yet. Some of you didn't even start that process. Some of you are really terrible with returning emails, and the orientation is powerful. Yeah, Cruz will tell you. He's on new. You didn't even. Oh, I didn't check my email. Then you maybe not. You're not cut out for this. We need people just a little bit more organized. Who can. Yeah, Kashia should tell you. Who can check your emails at least and things like that. So some of you, I guess, were a little confused. Grow. As to if you're not. No, we require more than just you signing up for something. It's deeper than that. So that I just wanted to share that, and for those who are interested, the intake, Chief, don't do us so hard. Don't some of the men too. Hey man, listen, and not man. That's Mama Marva. It's real out here. Stop effing around. One of the. I'm not about to go. I know that's what you think. I know you leaning forward like, oh, Chief about to grow. No, I'm not gonna go because it's time for us to go. Grow. The biggest problem we got as a people. I'm gonna lean in so you can really hear me. We refuse to grow up. So, soon as we don't get our way, or things don't function the way we want it to function, we ready to give up. Or we go run off now dealing with lower level deities. And even when the lower level deities don't do what we want, then we want new deities. Yeah, I wanted this job or what. I'll give you a quick story. I was thinking about this earlier, so it fits right in. So one of my homeboys, I'm gonna say it quick. One of my homeboys from like the old town, my hometown. Like we used to play in a group together, right? Now he's from an area. He don't watch none of this, so he ain't gonna know. But if I say the area, you talking about me. Um, there's an area near where I live called Eden Wall Projects, right? Eden Wall Projects is a projects in the Bronx. Um, just one of my old stomping grounds. Notorious projects in the Bronx. One of them type of projects you don't know nobody, you can't walk through. Basically, is one of them. You will get surrounded, right? At least that's how it was back there. It's still pretty like strangers can't really just walk through Eden Wall, right? So big time big time gangster from Edenwald, whoop de whoop, but he happened to be like an amazing drummer, right? So I remember one time, there was long story short, there was another drummer coming up, younger than him, because he was a little older than the rest of us. He probably had us by about 10 years, I'd say, right? And I knew him from the group, but also Edenwald, because there was this girl I used to deal with back in the day in Edenwald, right? And remember the first time. That's why you got to be careful sometimes. You know, these New York City project chicks, like, they got to give you the pass. I remember the first time I went there, I'm like looking up at the window, and I just hear her say, "He alright, he with me. He alright, leave him alone." I'm like, "Leave me alone," and I'm looking around, and like there was dudes behind me. I'm like, "Oh, he alright." I'm gonna throw the key down. I'm gonna throw the key down. You know, uh, but he was actually one of the dudes, right? So we ended up getting cool after that, whatever, because I was coming through, because I'm like, and right, and you there every night. Y'all know the lines of the song, so I was there pretty consistently. So long story short, so that's the background he come from. He knew I was thorough. I knew he was thorough. Woo de woo. So there was another younger drummer. Long story short, there was a gig that we 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 got we were gonna do with a particular singer. The singer, I'm making this real short, ended up picking the younger drummer for this song. There was gonna be two drummers on this particular gig, but there was one song that was like that was the one, like So when we're going through the call sheets are like, the song, like the set list. Like, we're gonna be doing this song, this song. Like, okay, cool, right? So we're going through the set list. I see his name, like, okay, he's not there. The other one's playing this one, which kind of made more sense anyway because of his style of playing. But anyway, this dude disappears, right? So I'm like, yo, where'd he go? Like, and then everybody's like getting up. I'm like, yo, where y'all going? We supposed to rehearsal. So they back in the office. So I go to the office door. They pushing the door so I can't open the door. They like, yo, you just not right. Please, now is not a good time. I'm like, man, open it. So I showed the top. Like, man, open the door. So I pushed the door open, right? He back there crying. He back there crying. I said, man, what's wrong with you? He said, yo, I'm not playing, man. You pissing me off, man. Now ain't the time. And he's sitting there with tears in his eyes trying to be tough. I said, what is wrong with you, man? Now, the younger drummer was probably, he had me by about 10 years. Younger drummer's probably about 15 years younger than him, right? So I'm like, yo, you crying? You crying? You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm just, like, what's wrong with you, man? Like, and everybody's like, yo, because they know how I am. Like, they just like, don't let him back in. I'm like, man, get up, man. Like, what's wrong with you, man? Like, you big time Project Pat. You're a big time killer and all that. You running with all the gangsters and robbing cab drivers and pizza delivery, man, all in the projects, all crazy. And you crying because he's playing on a song, and you done played on how many people's projects? You done, oh, I almost said it. There's a song that y'all all know that was a hit that they still played in like, he played drums on it. Ooh, almost messed up and said that, because all you have to do is look it up, you'd see his name right there. But he's played on like some really, really, really big songs, like big, 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 big songs for like huge artists, right? This is one song, this kid can't have it. So I'm looking at him and I'm like, I had a whole different kind of, like, you a baby, man. You a mama's boy. And I'm saying all of that weird. I'm like, you a mama's boy, man. What's wrong with you? You know what I mean? Like, you know, um, so, and resting dead too. His mother transitioned recently, man. And I used to sit it back in the days when I was bodybuilding, man, eat up all her oxtails. She's the, you want some more? You want some more? The boy is so big. So she was a really sweet woman, but she raised a crybaby, freaking crybaby. So that's just an example of what I'm saying, man. We need to grow up. We need to grow up. A lot of times we don't get what we want, and we're ready to flip out without recognizing, man, that's not what the Creator wants for you. How about that one? Why don't we want what the Creator wants? Why do we want what we want when we want it? And then when it doesn't work out, when it doesn't work out, the first thing when it doesn't work out, but then we look for lower level deities to satisfy what we needed to hear the first time. Grow, grow. That was a double. That was a double pump grow. you know. And it's funny because I was thinking about this earlier. I swear I was. I was thinking about that incident earlier, and I was laughing to myself. And I'm like, there was an incident we had one time outside of a club that we was playing at, and long story short, our keyboard player, who was like a notorious womanizer, he's actually he's actually a church pastor now, but everybody got their past, man. But he sexed everybody, and some guys were gonna beat him up outside. I guess it was over a woman or whatever, and I got the call to come through, and like the whole group had left him, except for this guy, the drummer. And I said I had always had love for him behind that because he was ready to fight. It was a bunch of guys out there. He was ready to fight everybody, and he was like, "Y'all ain't jumping him. That's not happening." So yeah, you big time tough guy. you you ready to put on these big displays, and that's the problem. We ready to put on these big displays because when I showed up, I was quiet. But they called me because I had Lucille on me, and I'm like, listen, we can go a couple ways with this, but don't think you standing in front of a bunch of band nerds. That's I wasn't in band like that. You know what I mean? So, I had to lift my shirt up a little bit. It's like, which way you want to go with this? Is it really worth it? And we was able to diffuse the situation quietly. But you ready to do that, but you crying because you can't get the glory on this over here. That's our biggest thing, man. Grow. We need to grow up. We need to grow up. So I know sometimes it feels like what I'm saying is like and very stern, batteries going, and very strict a lot of times. But we're in a serious time, and we got a lot of really weak um, characteristics that we have to deal with. And I'm not saying I'm like everyone's drill sergeant or anything like that, but I'm saying sometimes people are sent to us to prepare us for what's coming, you know, and certain attitudes are just not going to make it anymore. And we got to be able to organize around an agenda, and it can't be everyone's personal agenda. Grow. We got to be able to organize around a higher agenda and then harmonize, just like a group, like a jazz band. Like Coltrane leading the band, we got to be able to harmonize around an agenda, so that way we can just survive. We ain't even talking about living so we can survive, right? And that's dealing with perfecting the heart, man. And like, he was willing to fight 8 people for a friend, but unwilling to give another young drummer coming behind him some shine. Corrupted heart, corrupted heart, you grow. All right, so I'm gonna get out of here. Got a lot of, it's a very, very, very busy day for me. This was longer, of course, than expected, but you know what I mean? Don't be crying over human praise. It's not that deep, man. It's really not that deep. You got snot bubbles popping out of your nose and everything, and that's ridiculous. Grow. All right, I'm out, everyone. Solstice, solstice, solstice. Enjoy it, and perfect the inner man, perfect the inner woman.